Ooh.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Good to have you on board. I'm Mr. Moonstomper.
I'm Mrs. Moonstomper.
And as you've guessed, you've probably seen in the thumbnail already, this episode is all about the wonderful genre of Northern Soul.
And what is Northern Soul? What is it all about, Mr. Moonstomper?
Oh, well, that's a good question. Now, you're a bit of an expert on Northern Soul. I just like to go to the dances and I like to watch, and you like to watch as well.
Yes,
now,
yes.
I'm not quite old enough to remember Northern Soul first time round.
No.
I was yay high. In fact, I was born at the beginning of Northern Soul, as were you. In fact, just before the beginning.
Yes.
However, Northern Soul is actually soul, so
Yes.
it was a phrase that was coined. Now, if you sort of wind back to the late 60s, where you had clubs like the Twisted Whirl in Manchester, and then you had other clubs as well.
Mecca in Blackpool.
Absolutely, and the
Wigan
Casino,
Casino.
but that was a little bit later. So
Okay.
you know, the Twisted Wheel, and they started having what were called all-nighters.
Yes.
And they concentrated on sort of soul, acid jazz, that type of thing. And it was the sort of end period of the mods. So mods either went into sort of like the Northern Soul scene, acid jazz type thing, and the other sort of half, or not half, or whatever, went into sort of skinhead, that type of thing. And the sort of two, you know, although they're on concurrent, it's the same sort of kind of lifestyle. There is a difference. So basically, it's Tamla Motown, but it's rarities. And so, what do we mean by rarities? Well, it's not Motown as you and I know it. So Motown as you and I know it is Four Tops,
Temptations.
Gladys,
Supreme.
Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Yes.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Yes.
Smokey Robinson.
Stevie Wonder.
Absolutely. Really good stuff, but it's quite slow. Very, very melodic, very catchy. Northern Soul was a lot quicker. It was a harder edge to it. And it actually started, that sort of soul scene started in the mid-60s.
Yes.
In sort of, where was it in America? Where was it? Was it
In Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit? Yeah, sort of what they call Motor City.
Motor City, yes.
Also Hitsville.
Hitsville. The building was called Hitsville.
Oh, was it really?
Yes,
So,
yes. The
okay.
recording studios.
And the actual term Northern Soul, that was coined by, I think it was a chap called David Godin.
Yes.
David Godin, who owned Soul City Records in Covent Garden in London. And the term Northern Soul first came sort of in the public domain in June 1970, where it was alleged, so don't quote me on this, it was only alleged that the soul records he was selling, he'd import them in vast quantities. He actually wrote for, I think, was it Blues and Soul magazine or Soul and Blues magazine,
Yes,
what it was called.
one of those, yes.
And he was an editor as well as a soul record dealer. And what he found out was that when the football games are on a Saturday, and the Northern fans, such as your Manchester United fans and City fans and whatever fans, they came down to play the London teams. Those boys and girls would go into that record shop and they'd ask for soul, but it was rarities, so it was stuff that was never ever heard, rare pressings. And as he was an importer, what he'd do was he'd give them the stuff that was really, really rare, such as artists such as
Frank Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Salvador's.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Yes.
And what they'd do is they'd take it back to their clubs and they'd play it up there. And the rarer it was, the better it was.
Yes, and boy, did they love it.
Yeah, to the point where they'd have like cover-ups on the label, like what we call white labels, rare grooves. And the idea was with DJs was they'd get that and they would be the only DJ in the north with that, and people would just travel for miles around to listen to this.
Oh yes, for miles.
Yeah. So I've digressed slightly there because the term Northern Soul, he actually coined that phrase,
Yes.
and the reason he coined that phrase was when those football fans were going in and they were asking for soul records. They normally had listening booths in record shops in those
They
days,
did, yes.
and he instructed his staff in shorthand sales term, when the Northern fans go in, give them the Northern Soul. So it's not your regular sort of black soul, such as your Four Tops, your Temptations, and the bits and bobs we mentioned earlier.
That's it.
So Do you know any sort of rare tidbits or snippets about Northern Soul? Any sort of interesting facts?
Oh,
Or any interesting facts?
yes, the singer Frank Wilson, he used to be a producer, a record producer, until he used to work alongside Berry Gordy, the producer of Tamla Motown.
So if you don't know Berry Gordy was the owner of Tamla Motown, basically.
Yes,
The
yes.
sort of executive producer.
He was, yes.
The man who put it on the map. So, sorry, I digressed there.
It's all right. Frank Wilson worked alongside Berry Gordy, and Berry Gordy didn't really agree with Frank Wilson becoming a singer because he listened to Frank Wilson's sound and he didn't like it very much. So out of all the pressings of the Do I Love You song, Berry Gordy destroyed so many copies of the record, all but five. Five were left floating in circulation.
So with that, I think there was 250 copies made, I think. If you're a Northern Soul fanatic, put it in the comments below. Prove us right, prove us wrong. Add to the discussion if you want. But I think there was, like you said, there was 5 rescued.
Yes, yes.
But I actually think Berry Gordy had
I think
a copy.
he kept one.
I think did Frank Wilson have a copy as well? I don't know. And there was sort of 3 copies in circulation, probably for the public domain.
Oh yes.
One of which went to whoever. Then there was 4.
Okay.
There was 4 known.
Oh yes.
And then a 5th one turned up in the sort of mid to late 2000s. That was sold for, I think it was a Canadian chap who had it, some Scottish D-Day bought it for £15,000.
Wow.
Then it sold in auction for just over £25,000. So that makes that a real rare record.
Very.
In fact, exceptionally rare. So there are records that are more valuable.
Yes.
The records that are like 10 times, 20 times the value of that, such as the Wu-Tang Clan. They've got an LP for some reason that's like worth £2 million that somebody paid, or $2 million. So go figure. But Northern Soul is indeed a rare, rare thing.
Yes,
So here's another fun fact for you. So is it Douglas, what's his name? Kung Fu Fighting.
Oh, Carl Douglas.
Carl Douglas, that's the chap.
Yes.
That song, Kung Fu Fighting, allegedly was inspired by Northern Soul. So why was Northern Soul inspired by Kung Fu Fighting? So you know the answer to that, don't you?
Yes, the young lads that were on the dance floor, they watched many Bruce Lee films, Kung Fu films, and they thought, I like the look of that, I like the moves, so they started copying the moves of Bruce Lee onto the dance floor, and it became very popular over the years.
And then everybody was Kung Fu dancing.
Yes, which looked really cool to see all those Kung Fu moves and the spinning, the splits, the spinning and the splits and the, yes.
And the backflips and the...
Backflips, yes.
Yeah, pretty cool. So
I think it was cool.
So what's the dancing like then, Mrs Moonstone? Because you can dance. Now, this lady can dance Northern Soul, I can't, because like I said, I've got 2 left feet, so I go and watch it with this lady. She gets up and she dances, and she's pretty good, so tell the guys at home what the dancing is like.
There's shuffling as well, there's the Dallas shuffle. Spinning, you throw your talcum on the floor to gain slipperiness. So you, when your shoes come into contact with the talcum on the floor, it gives you a very good spin time, and I think that these lads compete against each other so you can spin the most.
So and when we go to these dances, incidentally, so we see the OGs, the actual OGs of Northern Soul, and those guys they've got to be 70 now, they've got to be late 60s, early 70s, there or thereabouts. They're a good 10 years older than us, and those guys can still spin.
Yes.
They can still spin, and it's frightening, because I just think if I spin and I fall, I'm going to break a hip, but not these guys. These guys are absolutely stonking, aren't they?
Yes, yes,
they are.
They've still got it. They've still combustion
absolutely.
shapes.
So we go to a local one in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands in England, if you're not from England, and that one's absolutely brilliant. It's
The
been
Goodyear
running,
Pavilion.
yeah, it's been running about 30 years, and you know, while it's not chock-a-block, it's a really, really good night with like
Yes, it is.
superb DJs.
Yes.
So, and Northern Soul is all about it's about the dancing, but the superstar DJ as well.
Yes.
So, and that's when you look at the superstar DJ, that gave birth to so many different genres. So if you look at Northern Soul, actually, it gave birth to many different genres. The dancing in that gave birth to, I think it gave birth to break dancing.
Oh yes, because you see the lads on the floor
Yeah,
actually doing the breakdance move before breakdance became popular.
yeah, and that's sort of
Nineties.
that's sort of 5 or 6 years before break dancing was a thing, you know. And then the superstar DJs, they became, some of those actually became house DJs, the house music,
Okay.
that type of thing. They went on to other things, as you would as a DJ. You've got to diversify, otherwise you're kind of dead in the water.
Yes.
So isn't that weird? So what did they actually wear then, Mrs. Moonstone? Because you I don't wear it. I'll just about wear a Fred Perry very badly. So what did they actually wear?
I'll start from the. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go for it. You go for it after you.
I'll start from the bottom. Broad type shoes, flares, Fred Perry polo shirt or Ben Sherman shirt, or a sports vest, thin straps. Yes, and the girls pretty much the same, but they had flared skirts, shirts, vest, flat pumps or loafers.
Bowling shoes.
Bowling
so
shoes.
bowling shoes, bowling shirts. So where we go, people bring the bags in,
Oh,
and they've
yes.
still got their original Northern Soul Adidas bags with
Yes,
the badges all over.
Wow, that looks so
From
good.
clubs that have been members of, and they pull those bowling shoes out, the bowling shirts and the towel, and they're away for the night.
They're not allowed
Honestly.
to talcum though.
No, but just a towel. You know,
Yes.
the towel for the copious amounts of sweat. And I'm just sitting there sweating watching it actually. But yeah, but it's a really, really good genre. So, as you say, all the beats are over 100 beats per minute. And it's absolutely amazing. So, the record labels, what record labels do you know for Northern Soul?
Rictic, OK, Sue, GW,
Brunswick,
Brunswick, yes.
Soul.
The Soul as well.
Soul.
There's just so many I can't
Yeah.
remember. off the top
So
of my
Frank
head.
Wilson's "Do I Love You" was recorded on Soul, and that's actually a subsidiary of Tamla Motown.
Oh,
would you
I
believe?
see. Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
So there you go. You live and you learn.
Yes.
Yeah. So the good thing about Northern Soul is it spread across the country as well, because a
Oh,
lot of people
yes.
think it was just in.
I thought it was just up north.
Well, they did, yeah,
Manchester,
but
Liverpool.
it went down to the Midlands. It actually went to East Anglia as well. Peterborough, Cambridge, Northampton. I think Bournemouth as well on the south coast.
Cleethorpes.
Cleethorpes, that's back up north, and then Skegness as well. Then you had St Ives in Cornwall as well.
St Ives, wow,
I
you
believe they actually did that, and then good old Wolverhampton,
Yes.
the Catacombs, which was absolute. That was a cauldron, an absolute cauldron of. Yeah.
Oh, we missed it though. We missed it completely.
Yeah, because
We
we
wasn't
weren't.
old
Yeah,
enough.
we weren't old enough, absolutely. But, however, look, we are where we are.
Yes.
But we still enjoy that genre.
Oh yes,
Especially,
definitely. Yes.
So, the Wigan Casino. So, what do you know about Wigan? Wigan Casino is probably the most famous Northern Soul venue, but the Twisted World was there before the Twisted World is the OG. But the Wigan Casino. So,
I think it got burnt down, didn't it, Wigan Casino?
I think that was after it closed.
Oh,
I believe.
right.
So it closed in what year did it close? It was about 1980 or 81, something like that.
Something like that. So.
When it closed. So 3 at 8. Do you know what 3 at 8 is?
Yes.
So 3 at 8. So Wigan Casino opened at 2 a.m. in the morning and it closed at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yes. Yes.
And that was the sort of night of dancing where it was absolutely amphetamine fueled
Wow.
excitement. Kind of like an olden day rave, you
Yes.
can imagine that. But it's the same difference and we're still partying like that nowadays, I imagine
Yes.
youngsters are. So what was the 3 at 8?
3 at 8 was Long After Tonight Is All Over by Jimmy Radcliffe, I believe. Time Will Pass You by Toby Legend. And finally, I'm on my way by Dean Parrish.
There you go. And those were the last 3 songs
Yes.
ever played at Wigan Casino,
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. So that's another interesting fact. So in terms of the music, I can't remember who wrote a book. Somebody wrote a book, and it was the top 500 Northern Soul hits, and that was written by DJs from, I think it was Wigan Casino. In the comments below, if you know who did that, bonus points if you can name it, first person to name it. So the top 500 artists, with Frank Wilson being number 1, just in terms of rarity and in terms of popularity as well.
Wow,
You know,
yes.
and then you've got the white Northern Soul artists as well,
Yes.
Frankie Valli.
Frankie Valli, yes. Dean Parrish.
Dean Parrish, who would have thought such a
I
thing?
know.
Soul's black, you know, but they call it blue-eyed soul, don't
Yes.
they? You know, so yeah, go figure.
There's Paul Anker as well.
So yeah, there you go. So you know,
And Judy Street. Judy Street. She sings that what song? What?
didn't she work at your school?
No, Judy, not Julie.
Oh, same difference. I don't know. Don't I say they'll sound the same? Julie, till we get to my age.
Oh dear. There's Dusty Springfield as well. She's roped in on the Northern Soul scene.
How?
Some reason.
What song was that?
She sang. Oh dear. What's it gonna be? Please tell me.
And who knew that Rusty Springboard did Northern Soul?
Oh dear.
So there you go, another fun fact. So there's a thing, the logo, the Northern Soul fist. Now, I think that came from, right, so there's opinions are divided on this, because some people say it came from Black Power, which was like a civil rights movement in America.
Black Panther.
Black Panther, yeah, so Black Power actually.
Oh
Black Power.
right. Ah.
Right, so they the visual went Black Power or something like that. I mean, why you want to do that, I don't know. But kids in, I've got a feeling it might have been the Torch, but other people might say it would be the Twisted World of the Wigan Casino, and there'd be sort of different opinions divided on this. But they used to put one black leather glove on,
Yes.
and they'd go right on,
Right on.
and then DJs noticed that, and then that became a sort of symbol. And
Okay,
then,
yes.
then it became Keep the Faith,
Yes. Oh yes.
as far as I know. But if you know for definite, put it in the comments below. If you don't know, put it in the comments below. If you think you know, just put it in the comments. In fact, put something in the comments below, just so we know you're there, and we're not talking to thin air, because there's nothing worse than that. But yeah. I mean, so it's how many years now?
Well, on September the 23rd last year, it's the Northern Soul celebrated its 50th year.
So that was 2023, was it?
Yes.
2023, so 73.
Yes.
So I think it started before then.
I didn't think it was. I think it was.
Or perhaps it did, I don't know.
Not as popular, but 73 was the year, and now they're celebrating 50 years. They celebrated 50 years last September 2023.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
50 years of
50 long
Northern Soul.
years.
So, and long may it continue, guys.
Yes.
So when we go to these dances, we see youngsters now coming through. They're all in this as well. Although they can't move like the old ones, can they? Obviously.
They still
But
give it a go.
they give it a go. Yeah, we're absolutely loving it. So, what do you think about Northern Soul? Is it your thing? Is it not your thing? Comments in the
Comments below.
comments below. Just give us a like, subscribe, do anything actually. Even if you hate us and you don't want to see us again, put that in the comments below. That's what they're there for, guys. So, what have we got coming up in future?
We've got mods. We're going to talk on mods, skinhead reggae, and ska. Don't forget ska. And maybe blue beat.
Yeah, bit of
bits of
blue beat,
beat.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So we're going to go right back to the origins of where it all started.
Yes.
Rude Boys, and then go all the way through.
Yes.
How that music was imported to over here, how it became a cultural revolution, and we're going to go through all these genres, but we're also going to do lots of different things as well, aren't we?
Like giveaways and competitions.
Yeah, we've got some fantastic giveaways. We've already got those lined up. We haven't got many subs yet, but as we mentioned in the last video, the two-tone one.
Yes.
Once we reach a certain amount of subscribers, we've got some amazing giveaways, and they're not cheap gimmicky giveaways either. They are quite good. Items of clothing, that type of thing.
Yes.
And yes, there'll be competitions, and I think somebody's going to end up really, really pleased with those. So,
I think so.
definitely. And what else have we got?
You'll have to stay tuned to see.
You have to stay tuned because we can't remember now. It's just we've got brain fog. That's what we've actually got. So until the next time, guys.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.